This is a three-part series on how to install NVENC Export, which is a hardware H.264 video encoder for the Windows version of Adobe Premiere. Before we get started, who can use NVENC Export? First, it's an Adobe plugin, so you must have either Adobe Premiere Elements version 12 or Adobe Premiere Pro version CS6, and later versions will work too. This is only supported on the Windows operating system, so unfortunately, no support for Macintosh. Finally, you must have a supported NVIDIA GeForce graphics card. Any desktop GPU better than or equal to the GTX 650. Another way of looking at it, if your card supports NVIDIA ShadowPlay, then that should work too. Now, I don't know if NVENC works on laptop GPUs, probably not. Also, if you have an older generation GeForce, such as the GTX 500 series, then you can't use NVENC Export because your GPU doesn't have the required hardware encoder. NVENC Export will work with multi-GPU systems, even if your NVIDIA card is headless, meaning it's not actively driving a monitor. But keep in mind, encoding is always done on just one GPU, so it does not benefit from SLI. Okay, now let's begin the installation of NVENC Export. First, we'll need to create a working directory on the hard drive. This is where we'll be putting NVENC Export and some third-party support utilities, which I'll discuss later. I'm going to create the working directory on the C drive, and I will call it NVENC Export. Okay, now we'll go to the web and download the plugin. The plugin comes in a zip file, so we just need to click on the announcement link and get the zip file. I'll save it to the working directory, and now I'll unpack it. So the unpack operation is just a simple drag and drop from the zip file into our working directory. Okay, next we're going to copy a subdirectory into Adobe Premiere's installation path. That's the directory where you installed Premiere on your hard drive. Now, on my system, Premiere is installed at the default location, which is in the boot drive C, Program Files, Adobe Premiere Elements 12. As a side note, if you are a power user and have multiple hard drives, then your installation path may be something else. Okay, so the first folder we're going to drag and drop, or I should say copy, from our working directory into Adobe Premiere Elements 12 installation path is the plugin subdirectory. Now, when we drag and drop from one area to, when we drag and drop a folder into a application directory, we have to be careful to make sure we don't accidentally drop this on top of a folder or a program. Otherwise, instead of copying Windows, we either launch the application or copy the folder into some, well, in this case, into the system folder. We don't want that. We want to make sure that plugins goes straight into the root path of Adobe Premiere Elements 12. So I'll just drop it here. And as you can see, Premiere already has a folder with the same name as the one we're copying. So we need to confirm that yes, we want to merge the folder's contents. And now you're seeing anytime you modify or create items in the Windows system area, Windows will ask you for an administrator account. So let me provide that now. There. Okay, at this point, if you're installing to Adobe Premiere Pro or Adobe Media Encoder, then you're done with this video. Skip to the next part. In my case, I'm installing to Adobe Premiere Elements 12, and there's just one more folder I need to copy, and that's the Sharing Center folder. It contains some presets that go along with the plugin. Premiere Elements doesn't have the ability to create presets from scratch, so that's why we need to copy this guy over. And pretty much the same story as before. And we're done. So we've completed the first part of the installation of NVENC export. We copied the plugin into the Premiere Elements installation path, and we copied the presets into the installation path. In part 2 of this series, I'll discuss the third-party utilities that are needed by NVENC export. The plugin needs them for audio support and for writing out multiplexed MPEG-4 and transport stream files. Okay, so thank you and stay tuned.